Yeah, let's get on to the best bets, and I'm gonna try a bit of a different tactic today in order to ignite some success here.
Oh boy.
JP, it's gonna be a piss poor week for you. I'm expecting 0-3. I'm expecting a couple of disastrous best bets. I would honestly garner to call them worst bets of the weekend.
Yeah, sure.
It's going to be disasters. I'm just going to tell you that up front. With that being said, get into it.
Yeah, the trends would lean towards that as well. We are 8-16-1 on the year. And it's not early. It's getting late, very early. But we've got 3 bets this week, one of which you've already heard me discuss on the show, and then 2 that I have not. My first one, I'm going to go down to the deep south, and I'm going to take GATA, -6.5 against Georgia State. GATA trumped one of my best bets last week. I picked against them, and I regret doing so, albeit I got it right privately but did not get it right publicly. They only lost by 3. The spread was 3.5 for the best bets, but I had bet 2.5 earlier in the week. So I made money again privately but not publicly. I'm never going to make that mistake ever again. I apologize to Freedom. I apologize to Clay Helton. I apologize to J.C. French. That is my bad. I'm going to take GATA to win by 6.5 against Georgia State. Georgia State is bad. They're a bad football team. Now, they were competitive 2 weeks ago against James Madison, only losing by 7 points. But they also only scored 7 points, and James Madison scored 14. So I don't think it's going to be that way. I think GATA is going to score a ton of points in this game like they did last week against USM. And because of that, I think they win by a touchdown, and I'll take them to cover 6.5 points. My other best bet is one that I discussed earlier. I'm going to take my first over-under of the year in terms of best bets. I'm taking under 48.5 for LSU Vanderbilt. I think this profiles is like a game that at most is like scoring 40 points. Honestly, I think that most that we're looking at like maybe a 21-20 game. This feels like a game where both teams are in the teens. Given how good LSU's defense has been and how piss poor their offense has been at scoring points, those 2 trends alone, I think, lean towards an under. And then on top of that, like Vanderbilt has been playing pretty solid defensively, and offensively, their big problem is they've been turning the ball over and losing points when they need to get points. And I think all those things lean towards the 48.5 going under. I like it. I think that's too high. 48.5 means you need a team to score 24 plus points. Well, LSU hasn't done that, but once this year against Southeastern Louisiana, as I said earlier, where they scored 56, and their defense, of course, has not allowed that. But also that would say that they score 17 points, and Vanderbilt needs to score 32, meaning they blew out LSU. I don't see that happening either. So I think there's just too many possibilities for that to be under 48.5. But I can't wait for a kick return touchdown to trump that because we're going to have a bad week. So under 48.5, don't bet it. Take the over. But under 48.5 is the best bet. My last one comes from a team that is being displayed right now live on camera. Kind of barely in the top corner. We might have to work on our framing a little bit there.
I don't even know if they are seeable. Yeah, you can see them.
That's visible. Now they're being displayed proudly live in front of our live audience. Give me Washington -2.5. And this is one of those, it is a coaching dynamic pick. And it's a coaching dynamic pick that very, very easily you could just pick the other way. But Dan Quinn and Brian Schottenheimer have been on the same coaching staff before. They were on, I believe it was the 2014 New York Jets football team, where Dan Quinn was on the defense and Brian Schottenheimer was the offensive coordinator. So, Dan Quinn has seen Brian Schottenheimer's offense. a lot. He knows how it works. He knows its weaknesses. He knows what Brian is trying to get to. And Dan Quinn was also the defensive coordinator for Dallas. And they're playing Dallas, and Dallas still has Dak Prescott. So he knows Dak, and he knows Dak's weaknesses, and he knows what a Cowboys offense likes to look like. And I think those things lean towards Dan Quinn. Now, I say that in the fact that, like what I said earlier, this could just be flipped right on its head. Oh, well, Brian Schottenheimer has coached and practiced against Dan Quinn's defense. Brian Schottenheimer has run different kinds of offenses a ton. In Seattle, it was really, really on the run, like using the ground game. And then, of course, with Dallas, it's been through the air. Dak Prescott has also practiced against Dan Quinn's defense more than anyone else, more than Jaden Daniels. So maybe you could flip it that way. And it probably will go that way because this is going to be a bad week. But I'll take the Commanders to bounce back instead of the Cowboys bouncing back. And they win by 3 or more points in Dallas and Jerry World this weekend. Give me the Commanders. I'm sorry, Jack, but they are now losing another game now that I've picked them to win.
Yeah, you basically cursed us out of the playoffs for sure. Horrible picks, JP. I'm appalled at what you've put together.
8-19, here we come.
Yeah, it's about to be a disaster. But that's the end of the best bet segment. So we can get out of here now.